Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Beginner Guitar Academy podcast. I'm your host, Paul Andrews, and today we are talking about something small but mighty, the pinky finger. Now, the pinky often gets a bad reputation. It's the weakest finger, the least coordinated, the most likely to fly away from the fretboard when you want to try and use it. It's very difficult to control it. It's slow, it's not obedient, and that is because we need to actually work on it to build up the strength. It's not a naturally strong finger. But you're going to hit a certain point in your guitar playing where you're going to want to use it. Using the pinky finger will allow your guitar playing to be significantly easier, cleaner, more controlled. So we definitely want to be building it up and making it usable. So this week's episode is all about just that. We're going to talk about why it's important to build up the finger. Why do you want to do that in the first place? We've got more than one finger, so why don't we choose all the others? Why it feels awkward at first, the best exercises to strengthen and coordinate it so you can start building up the strength. Then we're going to do some riffs so you can actually put this to work. So we're not just doing boring exercise, we actually get some music going and putting that little finger to work. Before we dive into that though, I do have a little bit of member news. And the first thing is I've released this month's recording for our member live Q&A. So we did that last Monday, and I've put the recording now in the Academy. So we had some great questions. We had a great question about improvising, so how to actually practice it from David Bentham. We had Nicholas had a great question about foot tapping. When does that come unnecessary? When's it essential? How to stop your low string ringing out was a question by Mark, because when he took his finger off the low E, it kept ringing out. How do you stop that? So there's loads of stuff we went through there. There's quite a lot about improvisation and lead playing, so definitely go and check that out if that's something you want to expand on. You'll find the recording in the live recording section on the Academy dashboard, and I've stripped out the audio and put it in the member-only podcast, so you'll find it there. If you haven't got access to member-only podcast, you should have got an email when you first joined with a special link. If you haven't, obviously let me know, and I can get you subscribed to that so you can access all the member-only content. So definitely go and check that out, guys. So that's all the member news out of the way. So let's dive straight into it, guys, and talk about why the little finger matters. And I should say, I'm recording this as audio, and I'm also recording this as video too. So if you do want to see me play the exercise and riffs I talk about, go and check out the video. That'll be over on our YouTube channel at beginnerguitaracademy.tv. So you might be thinking, why do I need the little finger? I've got other fingers. I've got these three fingers. They're stronger. They're more reliable. Why should I bother trying to get that pinky going? You might have even started trying to use it and just thought, I can't use it. I can't bend with it. I can't put it on a string. It's got no accuracy. So the little finger matters for a few reasons. The first one is reach. So the finger is just going to allow you to stretch more across the guitar neck. So if you look here, where I'm positioned, and for those listening, I'm positioned on the first 4 frets of the guitar. You can see my pinky is the furthest away from my index finger, my first finger. So it stretches a lot further up the neck. So reach is a massive factor when we're using that little finger. It's just going to allow you to stretch further. The next one is speed. You'll be able to do faster runs, especially with pentatonic playing, scale sequences. All those things become a lot smoother and more efficient when each finger has a clear job. If you avoid using the pinky, you find other fingers do all the work. You start sharing frets with one finger, you start moving out of position, having to move back again. There's a lot of side-to-side movement from your hand, which obviously slows things down and stops it being as fluent as it could be. The next thing is strength and control. So it's going to make your chords so much easier, like a 3-finger power chord, like if you put the extension on your power chord. So you got your added 6. It's great for adding embellishments. If you do kind of the Hendrixy sort of stuff. The other thing is playing without tension. So if you don't use your pinky, your hand compensates by stretching awkwardly, collapsing into poor technique, which often leads to stiffness, fatigue, bad habits down the line. And then finally, long-term progress. So as you move into the higher levels of Beginner Guitar Academy, from level 2 to level 3 and beyond, the pinky becomes non-negotiable. Things like hammer-ons, pull-offs, scales, triads, riffs, everything essentially becomes so much easier when your little finger's trained and usable. So, yes, it's annoying at first. Yes, it feels weak. And yes, it will take some time, but it's 100% worth the investment because it really will impact your guitar playing in a positive way. So, okay, so there's definitely benefits we want to be exploiting by using the pinky finger, but why does a pinky feel weak? Well, it's perfectly normal. A lot of students think my pinky isn't just built for guitar. It feels awkward to use it, so I just won't use it. But the reason is you haven't obviously trained it yet. The pinky has fewer independent tendons than the other fingers. So it naturally moves with the ring finger. They're kind of joined together. So that straight away makes it feel awkward because you haven't got that separation. You can't move it independently. It's also used a lot less in daily life than the pointer middle finger or even the ring finger. You know, the little finger's always just left out. The muscles that control it are underdeveloped when you start on the guitar. So it feels so much harder to use than the others. So that's why a lot of people just don't bother. But as I said earlier, we now know there's a lot of reasons we should be using it. Also, another reason a lot of people don't do it is it takes a lot of time. It takes a long time to develop strength in the finger. And by that, I mean, probably a few months is going to have to be invested here. But it's going to be a massive payoff when you get it rocking. So let's now talk about some exercise we can use to get that little finger going. And a great one is the 1, 2, 3, 4 chromatic exercise, sometimes called the spider, where you use each of your fingers in each of the first 4 frets. And you're targeting each of those fingers. You can see I'm using that pinky. We want to keep fingers low. We want to minimize that pinky lift, so try and keep it down. Go as slow as you can so you can feel that pinky and you actually move it independently and you have control of it. So as you go fast, you'll find it will just lift off and just move further and further away from the guitar neck. So it's got to be slow and it's got to be controlled. Slow and low is the goal here. So as soon as you speed up and it starts going too far away, you lose control, slow it down, bring it back again. This is great, and any website, book, article, magazine you look at which has basic exercises to start coordinating fingers, start building up accuracy, building up strength, will have a version of this exercise. It is that essential, this exercise I'm doing right now, the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's brilliant to get control of your fingers. So that's one way we can start off, just using our 1, 2, 3, 4. Moving up, great for down, up picking as well, because we've got down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. It repeats every string. Next exercise I want to talk about was actually just starting to isolate certain fingers. So like a 1, 3, 4 exercise. We actually do this quite high in beginning guitar community. Right up in level 4 we start doing this. We can target 1, 4, 3, so start moving around. As I said earlier, the ring finger and the pinky finger are joined. So these little exercises start to help sort of get rid of that join, start getting more independent. So it's a great way of isolating the pinky. So all these little things, and there's obviously loads of variations of this we could do, and I do this all the time with students, mixing up finger sequences, going between strings, starting to build in the accent coordination of changing strings is a really cool thing as well. There's some videos, guys, if you do want to check that out, Beginner Guitar Academy, go to the quick tips section, and I've done loads of videos there for warm-ups building on top of this idea. The next one is hammering down. So finding maybe the 5th fret, then putting pinky on the 8th fret, and just trying to hammer and pull off. That's a great one for building up strength, because obviously the volume is maintained by how hard we hammer and how hard we pull off. So it's all down to that pinky finger. So it's a great strength build. Also, you can do that on the skinnier string if you find it's a bit of a stretch against that low string. And just seeing how long you can maintain then those notes for. So that's a really good one to do. Anything with hammers and pull-offs are great for building it up. And then something you can do when you're away from the guitar, maybe you're commuting to work, you're stuck in a traffic jam in traffic, not, listening to the radio, perhaps you're in an office, you can just tap that finger on the desk. Or even obviously on the guitar, if you've got the guitar with you and you want to give your fingers a bit of a break, that's a great way of just, again, training that stability, training the strength and get the words out. It's just simply that is going to be good. And you can get little contraptions as well, ones you can squeeze, little balls and things like that just rotate. But you can get some of those off Amazon, which can be quite useful as well. But all those things will really help start getting that finger up to speed. So start helping to build up the strength and start getting it used. Or begin it to a point where we can start to use it. So next thing we'll talk about is some cool riffs we can use this little finger in. And one of the first ones we do at Beginner Guitar Academy is the Peter Gunn theme tune, which is that one. So that's a great one for little finger. And I've actually just changed that. I actually do it like this now. This one's a bit of a funny one, this theme tune, because he actually slides. He does 2nd fret, slides to the 4th fret from the 3rd, and does 5, 4. So he does actually use all of the frets. So I take out the slide just to make it easy, obviously, for beginners. So now I've put it in, so don't do the slide, and we're still using all our fingers just to take out our complexity of sliding, but the benefit of using all 4 fingers. So what we're going to do is just open E string twice, Second fret on the E string, open E string. Third fret on the E string, open E string. Fifth fret on the E string, fourth fret on the E string. Now the important thing here is each finger has a job. First finger plays in fret 2, second finger plays in fret 3, third finger in fret 4, pinky in fret 5, and they stay in those frets all the way. So we have that. So nice easy exercises using all 4 fingers. It's a great kind of next step once you get the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise going. As you can see, we're using all 4 of those fingers, just shifting up a fret. It's great. Next one I like to do is Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Now, as hammering on this one, you can pick it if you're still working on your hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's a great one to pull off, though. Like I was saying earlier, these hammer-ons and pull-offs with pinky finger, great one for strength building. And this is great. We're starting on the A string at fret 2, then just walking up to 4, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 2. It's the same frets as Peter Gunn on a different string, obviously on the A string, but just walking up to 2, 2, 2, 4, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 2, and you can pull off back to the 4, back to the 2. Really cool riff. Next one I quite like, Sunshine Love. In D blues scale. So it's got this great little pinky stretch on the string 6. So start from the D string 12, 12, 10, 12, up to the A string 12, 11, 10s, just descending. Then up to the low E, 10, 13, 10. So that's a really cool riff. And I thought I'd throw in a little bit more advanced one for the high level students, and Layla. Great little riff. Now this one is hard because it's hammer-on pulling off quite quickly. And we're still in the key of D. So we've got 10 to 13 hammer on the B string, 10, 13 hammer and pull off on the E string. Then it goes up to the B, back to the E. So you can see the speed of that. It's a great little riff. And he's got obviously those bends as well. So that's a really fun one to play. Quite quick, but a really fun one to play. So there's a few riffs you can obviously play around with. For beginner guitar academy students, you'll find those in the riff section on Beginner Guitar Academy. You'll see them through the course as well, but you can check them out in the riff section over on Beginner Guitar Academy. So next question, and quite an important question, is how long is this going to take? So hopefully now I convinced you that it's worth spending the time to build up the pinky finger. So we've got some exercises, we've got some riffs we can actually start using. So the truth is, it's slow. And I did say this earlier, it improves very slowly. You may not feel much progress in the first 2 to 3 weeks. Then one day, it's just going to click into place. I remember doing this with, I can't remember what I was doing. What was I doing? But I was trying to work on this little sequence. It just wasn't happening. And then all of a sudden, after a few weeks, it just fell into place. I was like, oh, I couldn't do that a few weeks ago. Wow, it's working now. You'll find it with stuff like this. You work on it, and you don't see the improvement straight away, but then all of a sudden, it clicks into place. What you got to remember is we're building these tiny muscles in this little finger, as well as neural pathways. That takes time. But give yourself just 5 minutes, just 5 minutes a few times a week to really work on that pinky finger. It will get stronger. It will improve. Again, you won't see that straight away, but set yourself a target of maybe doing it for like maybe a couple of months, and just really, the payoff is huge. Trust me, it's well worth doing. The amount of people that just can't play certain things because they haven't got the dexterity and the strength from that pinky finger. I see it all the time with my more advanced students or people that come to me from other teachers, and they just do not have the control. So it's definitely worth spending the time, committing to it. It does take a while. It will be frustrating, but trust me, it will be well worth it. So guys, that's it for this week's episode. Again, hopefully I've convinced you that the pinky finger is a finger to work on. And now we have a strategy to obviously work on that. So if you have enjoyed this week's episode, I really appreciate a rate and review, whatever podcast app you're using to listen to me today. And if you are struggling teaching yourself, maybe you've been playing guitar for even a few years, but you find you're missing structure and support, then come check out my online guitar school, beginnerguitaracademy.com. There you're going to find a 5-level system, takes from complete beginner to advanced. You're going to find support from me whenever you need it, unlimited support. And you're going to find a great community of like-minded guitar players. There's nothing better than learning alongside other people that are in exactly the same boat as you. So come check us out. And the great news is, at the minute, you can take a 2-week trial just for $1. And you can do that over at beginnerguitaracademy.com. So guys, that's it for me this week. Next week, we are starting a whole new month. And the theme next month is going to be all about improvisation. So keep an eye out for that. The first episode is going to be dropping next week. Until then, have a fantastic week. Keep practicing, and I'll chat to you next week for another episode.